Welcome to Strip Cover Lit, where we squeeze the bigger picture out of literature. I'm Adrian Fort.
And I'm Dalton Gentry.
And we are here for another installment of this crap.
Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. This is chapters 33 and 34. We are finishing it out here. We're rounding out Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. Feeling good?
Are we done?
Feeling frisky about it?
Are we through?
We're almost through.
We're finished.
I think, though, we're going to have a good time with this chapter.
Well, I've got 2 points of contention, and then we will get to what I believe will be the meat of the discussion.
Meat? Okay. Would you like to start? Would you like me to round out these chapters real quick?
Go ahead and round them out.
This is chapters 33 and 34. This is Fight and Flight and Beyond the Veil. So, Fight and Flight. In the Forbidden Forest, Hermione leads Umbridge to the Centaurs in an attempt to use the Centaurs to kind of throw Umbridge off her tracks. Grop interferes, and the Centaurs ride off into the sunset with Umbridge as he turns the page casually.
Yeah.
Adrian. And a plan is then hatched to fly the Thestrals to the Department of Ministries. We move on to chapter 34, Beyond the Veil, where the kids ride the Thestrals to the Department of Ministries. That's all that really happens in that chapter. We go through a weird maze, labyrinth type thing, and just not a good chapter in my opinion.
Yeah, very Scooby-Doo chapter. A lot of wasted time there.
Wholeheartedly felt we were just going to talk about centaurs all day. So.
Yeah, that's probably where this is going.
Okay.
But quickly, on 751, we get the quote, "It seemed incredible to Harry that 20 feet away were people who were enjoying dinner, celebrating the end of exams, not a care in the world." It strikes me, I wonder if around this time J.K. Rowling lost a loved one.
Okay.
Because if you follow literature enough, when you start getting these types of observations that pop up in someone's writing, a lot of time it's around the time of losing a loved one. These observations of how can this person go on when my life has encountered something so devastatingly that interferes so devastatingly.
Okay.
So it makes me wonder.
And again, I'm pulling from like random facts that I've read years and years ago, so I'm sure I'm way off. As you know, J.K. Rowling was pretty broke when she wrote the first Harry Potter. At this point, she's loaded. She's fine.
Right.
But I do believe at some point, and I don't know which book, I don't know when, her mother, I want to say, was not in good health.
Oh, yeah. So
that could be a thing. I would have to double check to get my facts straight on that.
Yeah, I don't know. But
Okay.
it makes me wonder, maybe this was around the diagnosis or something.
Okay.
Because that insight seems to be life-changing, not just...
You're fine.
Not just for writers.
Excuse the static for 2 seconds as that fell off of me.
But it seems to be something which... Like Thestrals.
Okay.
Thestrals?
Thestrals.
Once you see them, you cannot unsee them. You see them because you've seen someone die.
Okay.
Right? Is it because you've seen someone die or someone you love dies?
If you've seen death,
if you've seen death, you can see the
Thestrals.
That observation that there can be so starkly contrasted someone whose life is going on as per usual with someone whose world has ended.
Okay.
Now, obviously, it's possible to conceptualize it for anyone at any point, really. But something so devastating as this observation seems to be to the Potter boy himself.
Okay.
To put that into writing, a lot of times that's when that sort of thing creeps up in literature.
Okay. Interesting point. And like I hadn't given any thought to that little clip there, so like good thing to bring up.
It's a quick quote.
Okay.
But it's something that if you've seen it before, it catches your eye.
Okay. Your second point of contention?
On 753, he wrenched himself free of her and turned. Around 50 centaurs were emerging on every side, their bows raised and loaded.
Is that how we're going to segue into this here?
No, their bows raised and loaded. Does one load a bow and arrow?
Yes.
That's what it's called, is loading a bow and arrow.
What other word would you use for that?
Readied?
Okay, ready. That's, yeah, but like...
Trained?
No, it's the same thing as like if you're loading a shotgun, you're taking the ammunition, you're placing it into the shotgun. If you're loading a bow, you're taking the ammunition, which is the arrow, and loading it into the bow.
Loading it how?
You have to put it in the little nock here in the back, and you need to load it, as in pull it.
Okay.
Ready.
If that's the right, that's the right term.
I think it is.
I've
I
never
think
heard
it
the
is.
term loaded a bow and arrow.
You ever actually shot a bow and arrow?
I've not.
Terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. You have to hold it right, because if you don't hold it just right, that 150-pound pull of string is going right into your forearm.
Sure.
And you're losing all of that.
Yeah.
So, anyway, fun fact of the day. Adrian, this is the chapter that I have been waiting for, that I've been excited for, because in this chapter we get a little bit of a scene with some centaurs. How you feeling?
I feel like I can take the rest of the series off.
Okay.
I feel as if I'm done.
Okay.
I win. We're through. Not only... Okay, so, first off, if you can give me one scene in all of literature in which an angry mob of centaurs grabs a woman and hoists her away to give her a stern talking to, I will concede.
Okay.
If you can give me just one example,
Okay.
I will concede. My argument is done. What this is a rape scene.
Yes.
Centaurs are
Wholeheartedly.
rape. They're rape machines in literature. They're rape machines. It's what they do.
There is, this is jumping ahead a little bit, but it's not giving too much away, because I know you're going to catch it when you read it. There is a single line later in the book that locks this in.
Really?
Solidifies it 100%. And it's subtle. If you don't know what you're looking for, you don't catch it. But it's there, man. It is so there.
Well, and the thing... Okay, so this goes back... so long. When was the first centaur... Was it the second book that the first centaur was introduced?
The first book, actually, is
book?
where we meet the first centaur, because it is when we are in the woods and Voldemort is drinking the blood of unicorn.
Yes.
Okay.
So I called it then that these were rape machines. Did I not?
You did?
This is book 5. We're approximately 4.5 years later in my life, because these books are big and clunky and stupid, and I don't want to read them.
Okay.
But yeah, this is a rape scene. One thing I've made a big deal about sexism in these books, about fat shaming in these books, about all of these things in these books, right? I'm not against those things being in literature.
Okay.
Because literature is the battleground upon which we struggle with these things.
That's how you address these issues.
Right.
Yes.
I'm against these things appearing in children's literature.
Okay.
This is not where children should be dealing with these things.
Okay.
Children are children need to be told they're wrong. Children don't need to be seeing an example of them and having to forge that opinion for themselves, right? So not only that, in these books, a lot of those things are not just shown without being shouted down in the streets.
Okay.
They're corroborated. They're being shown as the right thing to do. The fat shaming, all the bad guys are fat, right? And this changed a little bit. One wonders if J.K. Rowling figured it out herself.
One wonders.
But this is absolutely a rape scene.
Okay.
Not only that, you're having Hermione lead this woman to I don't know what happens to her at this point, right? I don't know where this character goes. You're having Hermione lead a woman she could get raped to death. Right? These are how many centaurs are there? 50, something
50.
like that?
50 horse people.
50 horse people. Hung like horses.
Yep. That's
right?
the thing. And so, I know you said this should not be in children's literature, but I think this is very typical of children's literature, children's film, is you get the scene in almost every piece of children's literature, almost every piece, every film, especially modern film, that is the nod to the parents. And usually it's in good jest. There is an adult humor nod. In this scene, we're getting not a nod and not a humorous nod.
Right.
We're getting this little tidbit, not just to the adults, but to those who are going to break down this book, we know what happens. But if you give this to any child reading this, even when I read this for the first time, you don't catch this. The centaurs are leading Umbridge away to punish her. That's all you're getting from this.
Well, and if you want to look at this on a literature level,
Okay.
if you wanted to look at this on an analysis level, around this scene, we have sentences, he's nearing manhood, this one. The Centaur's talking about Harry Potter.
Okay.
They can join the woman. The Centaur's talking about the kids joining Umbridge. And the Grey Centaur to more neighing roars of approval from his fellows. We're talking a lot about gender right there.
Yeah.
So we're bringing up the idea.
Yes.
We're hoisting that idea upon a platter.
Yes.
It is being served to us. The most troubling thing is not that Hermione is leading a character into murky waters. Hermione seems to know exactly what is going on here.
Yes.
Hermione knows everything there is to know about centaurs, doesn't she?
And, like, Hermione even plays it to the point where she says, well, I thought, we could use help with this. And the centaurs immediately shut her down, like, oh, no, we do not help with anything. We do not do your bidding, which Hermione, again, plays well. She's like, oh, wow.
Right. It's curious.
Okay.
In this same light, Harry Potter is noted to be approaching manhood, right?
Okay.
It doesn't matter for Hermione, does it?
Okay.
They don't even care to observe that she's approaching womanhood, which she would be, right? She's the correct age. She's the same age as Harry Potter.
Correct.
Many times women go through puberty earlier than men, right?
And in the 5th book, these characters would be about 15.
Right. So, in biblical terms, what tribe was it? God ordered the Jews to slaughter this tribe, kill all the men, kill all the boys, keep the women and the virgins for yourselves.
Okay.
It says virgins. It doesn't say whether or not they're of age.
Okay.
Right. When you're talking about a rape machine such as a centaur, it doesn't matter that Hermione's 15 or if she is approaching womanhood or not.
Okay.
That's fair game.
Okay.
Right? So when you're talking about it in those vile terms, this is what you're saying.
I believe it is defended, though, because the centaurs, again, and like even if we're talking about, the coming of age, the adulthood, the centaurs continuously, and like it's even put in there, like continuously say, oh, we don't hurt the children. We don't hurt the children. So like if J.K. Rowling really knows what she's doing here, she is justifying this, saying, oh, this is what's happening to Umbridge, but we're going to defend this by saying we don't hurt the children. We don't hurt the children. We don't hurt the children.
But the centaurs are only doing so out of fear for mob mentality.
Okay.
You have the individual centaurs here in this very short scene on 756 and 757. They don't really care.
True.
Right?
True.
This one's approaching manhood, right? And how does he know that?
Okay.
Is he simply judging by appearance? Like, what's going on there? Are centaurs able to smell pheromones? Like, what's going on there? How does he know? And why isn't that same terminology applied to Hermione?
Okay.
Because, again, if I'm not... We do not attack foals. And maybe this is something I'm reading into this. Maybe this is not in here. But I got the inference that Harry Potter was in immediate physical danger from, like, a beating.
Okay.
I don't think that was mentioned about Hermione.
No, it wasn't. Now, let's...
No, hold on.
Okay.
It's not mentioned about Hermione that she's in immediate physical danger, is it?
Okay. No, it's not.
Where's Umbridge?
Umbridge at this point? Is she bound at this point?
She's not in immediate physical danger. She's in future physical danger.
Okay.
So Harry Potter might be beaten and left here to die. Hermione's going to see the same fate as Umbridge. Now, I know it says they'll join the fate of the woman. They can join the woman. You don't get that sense from the scene.
Okay.
You get the sense that the same fate is what we mean by joining the woman, but not at the same time.
So let's take the argument here, and let's take some liberties with this. If Hermione is the utmost educated, the one who always has the plan, who knows how this is going to play out, who is the leader of this plan.
And who's always right.
And if we take, as the villains, you want to put them are Scooby-Doo characters, who just are villains by circumstance, is Hermione the true villain here? Because this is some diabolical plotting that we don't see from Harry Potter villains.
Okay, so what this brings me back to, and I've made a big point of this in your absence, is that this is very much identity politics.
Okay.
This is the punch a Nazi, right?
Okay.
It doesn't matter what fate befalls Umbridge. If that fate is dealt or semi-dealt by a good guy such as Hermione,
History is written by the victors.
well, boy, she deserves it, right?
Okay.
You punch a Nazi, don't you? You always punch a Nazi. Whether they're a Nazi or not. If being a Nazi means we don't agree with you, it doesn't matter, you punch a Nazi. And I don't want this to sound like I'm just attacking the left. This is the same thing on the right.
Okay.
You go too far extreme on any one of these poles,
Okay.
and physical violence is just, oh, well, yeah, no, it's what you do. It's what you got to
Yeah.
do, right? Lynching was the same thing, right?
Okay.
And that was a predominantly far-right movement, right? So, conservative. So the liberal is, these people don't agree with us, well, we'll just take her to get raped. Rape's a terrible thing unless, well, we say it needs to happen.
Okay.
So this is identity politics. This is what happens.
Okay. There is also some really weird, sexual dominance things going on with this here, because what is Umbridge's immediate attack against the centaurs?
It's the wand, and they break it.
It's the wand, and they break it. But what does she attempt to do with said wand? What spell does she cast? She tries to tie the man up.
Oh, does she?
Yes. And you don't, and it's a note there, you don't attempt to do that to a centaur. There's some weird stuff at play with this here.
There's more than weird stuff at play here. There's absolutely diabolical things at play here.
And it's impossible not to imagine that J.K. Rowling just sat down and wrote this, and she's like, oh, this is a nice scene. There was some planning here. There was some plotting here. Because it's blatantly obvious.
Yeah.
It's terribly obvious.
These are not undertones.
No.
These are overtones.
Yes.
Anytime a centaur appears in literature, something such as this is happening.
Okay.
And for me, like I said before, the most damning component of this is that Hermione does not seem determined to take Umbridge into the forest for Grop.
No, she knew what she was doing.
She does not seem determined to take this Umbridge lady into the forest because the centaurs are violent or because the centaurs claim the land. She seems on a mission to get her to a certain point.
Okay.
And she seems to know that she will have this clearance afterwards.
Okay.
This is not accidental. This is not coincidental, and it is not a mystery. This is your hero. Okay, so Hermione's the mouthpiece by this point.
Yes.
Hermione is the mouthpiece by this point. This is the mouthpiece of the author. And she's Nazi, right? Umbridge is very Nazistic. She's leading the Nazi that you always punch away to get raped in violent fashion.
It's a dark thing.
It's not just you can't defend this at this point.
No.
This is indefensible at this point. And this goes back to so many people.
And if we're going to build Hermione as the mouthpiece of this, if Hermione is always right, and Hermione always does what is necessary and what is needed, and she's the champion of valor, whatever you want to call her.
She's always right.
She's always right. What is that implying?
Exactly. That goes back to my point about this being in children's literature. This is not just in literature.
Yeah.
If this happens in literature, okay, well now you've got a complex hero.
Okay.
You've got a hero that's doing bad things. You've got a hero that's doing downright nefarious things. Now we have to reassess how we judge this character.
Okay.
We're never given that necessity to reassess Hermione. Not in the next two chapters, anyway. Hermione goes into that next chapter with the labyrinth being absolutely correct all the time again.
Correct. It hammers in the fact that Hermione is always correct.
And just an immediate rebound.
Okay.
So many people have told me during the course of going through these books, some of the things you pointed out I'm absolutely terrified to go back to Harry Potter because of.
Yeah.
I grew up, Harry Potter's what got me into reading. I'm terrified to go back to them because of these things. So what does that mean? So much of this is just bound by those bad ideas.
Okay.
Right? It's the very binding of these books. But we've grown up in the society that is holding opposite values to what's in here. And, in addition, J.K. Rowling is some Twitter warrior champion of these ideas that are opposite to the book she's written. And it's, don't get me wrong, you're absolutely able to and encouraged to, as an adult, change your mind about things. But you made a lot of money doing this and have never even addressed it, as far as I know.
Okay.
Right? Because everything I ever hear about J.K. Rowling is her attacking people on Twitter like a true warrior. Right?
Like a true Hermione.
Like a true warrior. I'm gonna call you out in 120 characters or less.
Okay. So I'm going to cut you off on the centaurs, because I figured the centaurs are going to make up the entirety of this episode.
The centaurs you could write a book on this.
You could. But I do want to address just a little bit of chapter 34 so we can continue forward, because we're going to move on to the next chapters. Not a lot of stuff happened in 34, in my opinion.
Right.
The plan was we're going to get on the Thestrals, we're going to ride them to the Department of Ministries, or the Ministry of Magic, excuse me. Department of Mysteries, Ministry of Magic.
Department of Ministries.
Department of Ministries. Bureaucracy at its finest.
Bureaucratic bureaucracy.
Oh, the clan of redundancy clan. Anyway, that's really all that happens. They get on the fucking Thestrals, they fly off. And my frustration's coming out with this, because this was even Adrian was in the back of my mind, this chapter's here because it's necessary to move the plot forward. They get on the Thestrals, they go to the Department of Ministries. I'm done at this point. I'm done. They fly to London. And they get to the Ministry of Magic. They sign in.
And promptly do nothing.
They promptly do nothing. Now, I do like the bit where they print out the name tag, Harry Potter Rescue Mission.
Yeah.
I got a giggle out of that. I'll give it that. Cheeky.
Credit where it's due.
Yeah.
Hold on. You're not allowed to bash Harry Potter. You're the fanboy.
I enjoy Harry. I love Harry Potter, but honestly, this chapter, meh. Okay, so we get to the labyrinth, and Hermione's solving the puzzles. Everything's right. This seems very forced, and it seems very clunky. Because the Department of Mysteries that we're getting to, how do you get to the Department of Mysteries? Oh, you go through the mysterious, eerie room with brains in jars.
And we never had a hint to this, did we? It's just all of a sudden.
It's just there.
Now it's a labyrinth.
Okay, but
it's not even just Hermione. Ginny's having all these right ideas too now. Have you caught that?
Yes.
Hermione and Ginny, while Ron and Harry don't know what the hell is going on.
And they're just clunking around. They're the muscle.
What is
happening? Gotta have the
here?
muscle.
What is happening here?
But on an important note for the plot, we do get here, and Sirius is nowhere to be found.
Yet.
And we leave this chapter with Harry picking up this orb that he's been seeing, and he's being addressed by a stranger behind him.
Yeah.
So, this may have been an elaborate ruse.
Right.
So that's what we're moving forward with.
I was assuming that was Snape, but
okay.
I don't know.
You haven't read Ford, you don't know who that is, you think it's Snape. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was assuming it was Snape just because... So this seems to be setting us up for... And I always refer to it this way, the Jurassic Park moment, where at the end the T-Rex comes back.
Okay.
Was a bad guy, comes back and saves the day from the Velociraptors, right? The heroic return of the bad guy.
Thank you, Michael Crichton.
That seems to be what's being set up here. I don't know.
Okay. Well, that's where we're going to end with this chapter here. It's kind of just a cliffhanger, and it wasn't a great chapter. I'm glad we finally got to the centaurs. I've been waiting and waiting and waiting for this, because things are falling over. Your apartment's haunted. That's a big deal, and I knew you were just going to shred it. And there's that line coming later where we're going to have a 20-minute centaur conversation again.
My apartment is haunted by the centaurs I've dominated.
Fair enough.
That's what's going on.
I'm going to start texting you and be like, hey, do you want to go get coffee and talk about centaurs? Sounds nice this week.
Yeah, people wonder anyway.
Fair enough. So we are going to continue forward with Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. We're going to hit chapter 35, 36 next week, maybe 37, depending on when we're getting there, what we're looking at. But we're going to be wrapping this up in the next couple weeks here. We're going to finish it out with the good old Harry Potter recap video, where we're going to break down this book in its entirety.
Grand finale ultimo.
Grand finale ultimo. And then we're going to move on. Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince.
I don't know if I even want to at this point.
I'm so excited. Eventually you're going to be done with Harry Potter.
I'm already done with Harry Potter.
Okay.
Like and subscribe.
Like and so you're just done with that?
I'm done.
Okay. Actually, leave us a comment in the comment section down below. We're not done with this. What we're going to try to do is we're going to start bringing some comments into this, bringing a little more discussion into this. And if I'm wrong about something, by all means, tell me I'm wrong about things. People seem to love to tell me I'm wrong about things.
You're wrong about things.
I'm wrong about things. Make sure you hit the like button down below and hit subscribe as well.
Don't get that on tape.
Don't get that one on tape. Let's just leave that out. I was
Times they are a changing.
talking to somebody from work, and they're like, you use your, as it's called, Dalton voice way too much when you talk. I'm like, well, that's my voice.